Hey, and welcome to the channel. Ready to delve into the Reddit-verse for a story or several? If you like what you hear, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, as it helps us aplenty. Now let's dig in. This story is by user ImpressiveHurry3950. It was also posted under the relationship subreddit. The title reads, Boyfriend, 31 male, refuses to pay money he owes me, 33 female. What to do? My boyfriend, 31 male, and I, 33 female, have been living together for over 2 years. In the beginning, we split expenses for dates and meals equally, but over time, I ended up covering most of the costs. He rarely takes out his card, even though he claims to make over 3 times more than me in a year. I work one job, earn a decent income, and can live independently, but the imbalance has been frustrating. To address this, I suggested using Splitwise about 1.5 years ago to track shared expenses. I've logged everything diligently, but he hasn't entered receipts for the last few times he's paid. This year, by May, he owed me $5,000. When I started asking him to pay me back in June, it turned into multiple fights. He made excuses, promised to pay me tomorrow, but rarely followed through. By August, he had paid me $2,600, but $2,400 is still pending. He promised to pay the rest by the first week of October, then postponed November, then to the end of November. Now it's December, and I haven't received anything. He continues to make excuses, even though he clearly has the time and money to pay me back. I've tried everything, calm conversations, begging, even arguing, but nothing works. I even offered to help him use Splitwise, but he doesn't make any effort. What adds to my frustration is his other behavior. He frequently steals small items from grocery stores, and it feels like a pattern of irresponsibility and lack of accountability. I've considered reaching out to his family for help, but even his stepmother mentioned he owes her money too. He paid her back more than he's ever paid me, which makes me feel like he values our relationship more than ours. At this point, I feel helpless and don't know how to move forward. How can I retrieve the money he owes me? Any advice would be greatly appreciated. Thank you. Too long don't read. Boyfriend doesn't pay me money he owes me. Messiness of the currency variety, I see. I find it funny how often financially independent women are sought just to be taken advantage of like this, by a person who clearly doesn't have to, nonetheless. Paying his stepmother back more than he's ever paid OP isn't too surprising to me considering family bias, but the lack of accountability I do find alarming. It makes you wonder how else he fails to play his part in this relationship. It takes 2 to tango, folks. One hand washes the other. Let's see how other users responded to this. User Angel in the Fire says, consider this a 5K lesson and leave. What is this man doing for you? User S'mores says, you can't change this. You can't change him. You take the L and move on. Since you have diligent documentation, you can go to small claims for the rest. User AB's Halwa7 says, OMG girl, WTF are you still doing there? Pack your things and leave before that leech gets you in some serious trouble. You do comprehend he can make your big problems with justice? I meant, why do you even accept to pay for him? When you can go to restaurant, just don't pay his part. User Defied Gravity 10 says, yeah, is this the kind of person you want in your life or to build a future with? You can't manage to split dates. Can you imagine a mortgage or utilities? Just say goodbye to the money and never make this sort of mistake again. Oh, looks like we have an update to the story. Let's see if OP heeded the comments. Update. I asked him 20 minutes ago if he could pay me $1,000 back, so help me pay my tuition fees, and instead of giving me a clear answer, he started yelling. He brought up all our past arguments instead of addressing when or if he could pay me back. Then, he threw me out of his house and told me, quote, never call me again. That's when it hit me. He just wanted to break up. I wasn't willing to end things, and kept trying to make it work, so he made everything harder and harder for me. Today, even when I politely asked for $1,000, he seized that moment to push me out of his life entirely. I can't help but feel he could have just been honest from the start, instead of making me feel like a fool for trying to save this relationship. Yikes. Certainly not the update we were hoping to read. At least the uncertainty has come to a close, although in a no doubt painful, expensive lesson kind of way. Why not be direct if you want to break up, instead of needlessly stringing your partner along like this? Consider the toll it's taking on them, mentally, emotionally, physically. Financially goes without speaking in this case. Speaking of, it costs $3.99 to practice a little empathy. This story comes from user I'm Trying 229, and once again, this comes from the relationship subreddit. The title of this one being, Biggest Fight I Have Ever Had. I, female 32, and boyfriend, male 27, have been dating for almost a year. Very important sidebar. We're co-workers, and only a few of our colleagues know. We've had our tiffs here and there, and as of lately we've been fighting more and more. He is the type to need space when arguing, and I need to talk things out as they happen. It's the biggest reason why we clash. I don't fully understand his constant need for so much space when he's upset. It'll sometimes take him 10 hours to get over a small misunderstanding, even after I apologize, try to clarify, etc. The constant need for space over every single little issue is starting to get to me, to the point where I become anxious and cry over these small fights. Last night's fight was huge though. We were at a staff holiday party, and I noticed him and a new girl dancing a lot. I saw she'd always try to pull him and would grab him to dance constantly. This made me a little upset. At the end of the night in the car, I told him I felt a little upset and that I wished he would have done more to step away from her. He kept saying it wasn't him, it was her, which I agreed with. I then saw that she had texted him that night, and although I didn't think anything was really happening, it did worry me a bit more. I tried explaining to him that if the roles were reversed, he would be livid, and gave him an example if another colleague, someone our age and conventionally attractive, kept pulling me to dance and then proceeded to text me, he'd be very upset. He got extremely upset that I mentioned that guy as the example. He asked me repeatedly, already upset, if I liked him and if I thought he was cute. I said I thought it was before, but he's not someone I want or I'm interested in. He raised his voice and said I should basically go off of him and that he's going home and I can go to my house. So he sped off towards his house. I tried asking him to stop the car. I apologized and I pleaded. It wasn't how the conversation was meant to go, and I was so upset by that. He started to ignore me, and I felt this immense rage come over me. I didn't want to be ignored again. He flipped this whole thing on me, and now he's mad at me? I yelled at him at the top of my lungs, telling him he's making me feel crazy, and if that's what he wanted, that he's insane for getting so upset at something so small, and that I didn't know what else to do, and that if he wanted to leave, then he should. I then proceeded to tell, get out, and even got out of the car to open his door and yelled, fuck you. He got out and walked maybe 3 minutes to his house. I, of course, felt like complete shit. This is not like me. I'm not angry like this, but I felt so unheard and so angry. He's not talking to me, and I'm worried I crossed the line. I'm going to give him his space, but I'm feeling stuck. I feel like I've reached my breaking point. He can be so sweet, and will usually come back from his 10 to 12 hour silence with an apology. Aside from this issue, we're so good together. Is this salvageable? Are my actions forgivable? I know I fucked up, and I'm so embarrassed and ashamed of my actions. I'm not an angry person, and what I did is excusable. TLDR, my boyfriend and I got into a huge fight. Our fighting styles exacerbated the fight, and I had a very strong reaction to him ignoring me while driving. I said hurtful things, and I regret it. Do you think he'd forgive me? To play secret relationships can be a bit more complicated than your typical relationship. You do get to spend more time with your partner, yes, but variables outside of your control, such as toxic bosses and other flirtatious coworkers, certainly don't help. It calls for a certain kind of awareness and maturity from both parties involved, which I feel the boyfriend in this case was lacking. Never mind the fact that you didn't do your best to maintain boundaries with this new girl knowing your partner is likely watching, but to give the excuse of, it wasn't me, it was her. Even if you didn't come on to her first, you could have just simply declined assertively and move on to chat with some male coworkers or something. Just because you didn't start it doesn't mean you can't cut it off. Prevention is the best cure in my opinion. But moving on, let's see how other users responded to this. User Old Farts 2024 says, you two aren't compatible. Stop fooling yourself that you are. User Painted Lady 318 says, you shouldn't be with someone if you fight this much. It means that you are trying to force something that doesn't work. User Second Best Time says, have you ever successfully brought up a concern with him and been heard? When he hurts your feelings, are you able to express that he hurt you, and does he apologize and talk about how to prevent it from happening again? And if not, how much of your one little life do you want to spend like this? To which OP then responds, yes, after he calms down, we talk things out. He's usually pretty good at holding himself accountable, but then we forget about it all and just lead with unhealthy behavior. User Secretly Tiny Things says, the thing is, he doesn't need space. He's giving you the silent treatment. He's punishing you for daring to disagree with him. And now with this argument, you came to him with legit concern, and he flipped it and made you seem like the bad guy, and then fled, leaving you to stew until you go and apologize to keep the peace. But what would you apologize for? Throw the whole man away. This sounds exhausting. This story comes from the user Discovery. Clever spelling. It was posted under the relationship subreddit, and the title of it reads, My husband, 39 male, seemingly unsure of setting barriers with his friend, 37 female, who kissed his neck twice in front of me, 41 female, and her boyfriend, 37 male, at a party. Me, 41 female, and my husband, 39 male, have been married for more than 10 years. We celebrated his birthday with his friends whom I met for the first time. One of the ladies, 37 female, was very close to him, and I caught her kissing his neck twice. One of them was like biting. They were drinking a lot. I was very upset, and eventually a few days later told him that I saw them. He didn't remember at all, but apologized and said maybe he should limit their relationship. One day later, he started believing these might be friendly kisses because they all behave very close towards each other within the same group of friends. They all say that they love each other from time to time, but friendly, and are proud of each other. He does not seem very happy after our conversation, and I cry each time when I recall the kisses. He gets more upset, and I believe this is because he does not want to lose any piece of this friendship. A few days later, I joined them in a separate meeting, me, my love, and the lady, and she mostly talked about herself, character, dress selections, shoes, friends, her family, her job, business trips, education, upcoming job schedules, and my husband said he was proud of her. This hurts. Now, I am pretty much confused and not sure what to do, what to think, and what to say. Too long, don't read. My husband, 39 male, seemingly unsure of setting barriers with his friend, 37 female, who kissed his neck twice in front of me, 41 female, and her boyfriend, 37 male, at his birthday party. Indeed, a messy situation. Messy as it is juicy, much like a birria taco. I'm fairly certain the husband wouldn't be as chill about this if the roles were reversed. Let's see how others responded to this. Ruka from the East Side says, something seems off. You've been married for 10 years, but you are just now meeting his close friend group? My husband also has a super tight friend group. They tell each other they love each other a lot, and are just genuinely a very positive and friendly, open and accepting group of friends, but never ever 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 have any of the women kissed or attempted to kiss him. That's a hard no, and you need to make that clear. User Black Cat Sneak Attack says, didn't you also overhear him say, quote, I love you too, to her? He, quote, doesn't remember, because it's something they do in private so often he forgot they let it slip in public. User Last Temporary 8954 says, nope, no. The friendship should be over, and that's that. She crossed the line, and he crossed the line by allowing it. And that's whether you were there or not. I cannot fathom this happening between my husband and I. He would never let another woman get that close to him no matter what. If your husband wasn't interested in this lady at all, then he'd have no problem telling her the truth. That his wife was uncomfortable with the way another woman touched her husband, so out of respect for the woman he loves, he thinks they should distance themselves from one another. There's nothing wrong with doing that. Unless, of course, he's worried about her feelings more than he is yours. Think about it. Your husband clearly doesn't want to push your attention entirely away. And why not? I would have zero tolerance on this. I guarantee he wouldn't stand for the same disrespect. So you shouldn't either. User OK Preparation 2307 says, your husband is openly cheating on you with his female best friend and not even lying well. You should stop believing his words and start believing his actions. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe this is just another powerful reminder to the importance of setting and maintaining boundaries for the sake of your well-being. Be it a friendship, relationship, or marriage like this, assert yourself as no one else will do it for you. And that's it. What are your thoughts on these stories? Which one resonated with you most? Do you agree or disagree with any of the replies mentioned? Drop us a comment below to let us know. And remember, be sure to like and subscribe for more.